Good morning, everyone. My name is Wendy van Dongen, and I'm a PhD student at the TU Delft in the Netherlands. I work for the Digi Campus, a collaboration between government, science, and the market, and together with my supervisors, I wrote an article on future government data strategies. And today I will take you through this research and share the findings with you. Today I will discuss with you the increasing interest in data-driven governments or governments as data enterprise, and the 5 trends which ask for the government to redefine their data strategy. We did a literature study, but we found that there is no definition for a data-driven government or a government as data enterprise. So additionally, we conducted an interview with data experts. And based on these interviews, we found 2 types of data strategies. And for each of these strategies, we established a definition based on our literature and interview. And we established their characteristics. And next we elaborate on the several challenges facing these data strategies. So to start with the 5 trends urging governments to take a closer look at their responsibilities and their data strategies. First of all, over the past decades, paper forms and processes have been transformed to digital databases and automated workflows. And government agencies have become big data organizations, making it possible to work with this data to create value. And based on famous big tech companies like Google, Amazon, and Facebook, the value of using data becomes visible, and this has led to a rising level of expectation from society towards the government. So the government is expected to deliver personalized services, and as public service delivery is a significant part of government's budget, it becomes increasingly important to find ways to provide public services at lower cost. And using data has already proven this in the private sector. On the other hand, there are stricter laws and regulations for data collection, processing, and sharing, like the General Data Protection Act. And this limits the government in some ways, making it needed to see what still is possible to do and where the existing data strategies might fall short. And last but not least, the rise of the GovTech. GovTech generally refers to the landscape of private sector and startups, small and medium enterprises that deliver technological products and services, providing public value. So both public-private collaborations as private organizations need governmental data to provide this public value. And against these backdrops, these 5, public agencies need to rethink their data strategies. However, we lack an understanding of the characteristics of government as data enterprise and what challenges are on the horizon. Therefore, this research seeks to answer the following question. What are the characteristics of a data-driven government, and what are the challenges associated with it? To answer this research question, we first conducted a literature research, finding some characteristics on data-driven organizations, but lacking one for a data-driven government. We extended the research towards subjects terms like data-oriented government and government as data enterprise, but still not much was found. And to create such a definition, we looked into the definition of a data-driven organization and data-driven enterprise, but these characteristics were not suitable for government. Additionally, we conducted a semi-structured interview with data experts from both public and private sector. They were involved in analyzing or designing government data strategies, architectures, policies, and the sample of respondents included disciplines like public administration, policy development, law, ethics, and information technologies. So to the respondents, we asked to elaborate on 4 major topics: the definition on a data-driven enterprise, second of all, the definition of a government as data-driven enterprise, the challenges of the government as a data-driven enterprise, and looking ahead to the future on governmental data strategies. Through multiple questions, we asked them to elaborate on this topic. to the results. Out of the responses we saw, we got two different types of explanations toward government as data enterprise. So first of all, the data-driven government, and second of all, the government as data steward. Now, both of these definitions can lead to different types of governmental data strategies, and next we will elaborate more on each of these types, give a definition and the characteristics. We start by looking at data-driven government. During the interviews, we saw many similarities between the data-driven government and the data-driven organization, where the main point is that government organizations use data for operational or tactical decision making. They use well-defined set of data metrics to monitor overall organizational performance and put value creations for all actors based on data on its policy agenda. So the focus is on creating value based on data, for example, optimizing processes and create efficiency, or create personalized services, use data to write policy, and so on. So therefore, we define data-driven government as a public or semi-public agency that uses external and internal data for process optimization and public service delivery. However, during the interviews, another role and responsibility of the government in the data process was mentioned, and this is the role of data steward. As mentioned earlier, private organizations and collaborations between public and private are providing public value as well, asking government for data to create such services, and governments are looking more into data sharing, urging for a report once and use many system. Now, many respondents claimed that it is possible that in the future government strategy will be one of having responsibility over data, formulating explicit data sharing policies, use specifications for external data access, strive constantly for improving data quality, and stimulate the reuse of data within the legal boundaries, and giving other parties the opportunity to create value out of the available data. Therefore, we define the second interpretation of government as data enterprise as a data steward, and a definition therefore is a public or semi-public agency that has an explicit data responsibility and a continuous focus on data quality improvements that will allow external parties, private parties, to access data and personal data based on predefined conditions. Now, there are some challenges when looking at both strategies, and during the last topic we asked them to look towards the future and look towards challenges. Now, in the answers we found several challenges which were applicable to both strategies. So these were the foundational strategies challenges, and then we have some additional data stewardship challenges and data-driven challenges. So we start at the bottom of the pyramid, the foundational challenges, and these challenges include creating organizational change, having a burning platform to change the culture of an organization, like thinking data-minded and seeing the possibilities of creating value with data. Next is claiming resources, dealing with the dilemma of security versus transparency, and finally including the private sector, since tendering is hard for startups, but the government can learn a lot from startups within using and sharing data. Additionally, there are several challenges governments face with being a data steward. There's a large fragmentation of data through the government organization, so data is scattered all across the government, and where national systems were meant to be a single source, respondents noticed that organizations still download and duplicate every day, and pointing out that the existing systems are not yet equipped to work efficiently. Now, the government has different silos when looking at data sharing. There's not a common infrastructure, and um, it is now arranged according to the tasks and responsibilities of an organization and not toward a citizen or private organization's need. Now, one of the respondents stated that instead of looking at a governmental infrastructure, we should think of an infrastructure for society as a whole. And in here, we also see a fifth challenge, which is dealing with legacy. And even if we get rid of the old system and create a new one, we still have created legacy as well and have to deal with that. Now, the final challenge for data stewardship is making sure that the data is of quality, standards are set for these data sets, and that data can actually be reused. However, this will be a challenge since multiple parties, multiple stakeholders will be involved. And at the top of our pyramid, we see the challenges for being data-driven. Many of the challenges from data stewardship will also apply to being data-driven. However, there are some additional challenges like having knowledge within your organization on the data when data isn't collected by the organization itself. Another one is knowing the legal boundaries of what may be done with the data. There might be conflicting interest when using data, when on the one hand you want to protect the civilian's privacy, but on the other hand you want to collect as much data and use it in your services to detect fraud or optimize policy. And the last challenge reported by one of the respondents was about norms and values we have towards the government. So when, for example, using AI, there can be a tension between public values, and as companies can deal with a 10% error, society doesn't allow that from the government, since often government decisions are about people's lives, which makes it hard for organizations to use these kinds of techniques, and making it difficult to create a solid data strategy. So today we have established two new definitions interpreting the government as data enterprise. First, the one of data-driven government, and second, the government as data stewardship. We also elaborated some possible challenges formulating and implementing these strategies. And this research is a part of a PhD towards strategic decision making in the public sector for data exchange. And in this research, we will look further into the possible decisions in formulating and implementing data gathering and data sharing process. So for this purpose, I would like to ask you some questions. So first of all, what kind of literature would you recommend? And what are your thoughts on important research questions in this area? And last but not least, do you have any other tips? So for this, I would like to thank you very much for your attention and have a pleasant day.